check. Yep.
You are listening to the most original talk radio station anywhere. We are LA Talk Radio at latalkradio.com.
You're listening to Oscar's Guitar Shop with Oscar Jordan, right here on LA Talk Radio.
You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this: never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of Oscar's Guitar Shop. I'm Vintage Guitar Magazine contributing writer Oscar Jordan, and I am burdened with glorious purpose. That's right. I will take you to the pilot of your soul and help you find the crux of the biscuit. But on this very special episode of Oscar's Guitar Shop, we get intervallic. That's right. Brace for impact as we orbit chord tones and get super melodic. I say, you better hold on tight if you know it's good for you. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Hey now. Oh, sit down. Hey, we've made it to 13 episodes. This is amazing. This is so amazing. This has been a wonderful ride. I never believed I would get this far, but I've met some of the world's greatest guitar players in 13 episodes, including the one we have today. And I got to tell you, it's a burden, but it's a wonderful burden, and it's great. I would like to thank latalkradio.com for having me. The great sponsors I've had, the wonderful people, they've given me money, so that's a good thing. Also, the listeners, you guys have been cool. You've been right there for me. It's great that you're there. I cannot do this without the listeners, and I appreciate you tuning in every week. And I really, it feels good to have that kind of support. All the emails from really cool people telling me nice things about the show, and it's just overwhelming. Never did I dream when I was in the 70s reading Guitar Player magazine and seeing Richie Blackmore and Skunk Baxter that I would be, hanging out with guitar players of that caliber. And it's truly surreal and mind-altering. The show is a bit to do, but I'm glad to do it. And as you know, there's no such thing as a free lunch. If you really dig the show and you want to support it, go to oscarsguitarshop.com and click the donations to the show button and give till it hurts. Just give. Give me $1, $5, whatever you got. If you're a trust fund baby, if you're a dentist and you play expensive PRS guitars with, really big, huge boutique amps and you have a gazebo, feel free to donate and make me happy, and we can keep the show running. We can have the great guests that we've been having, and we'll stay in business. I really appreciate it, and it's not lost on me. I understand that it's tough out there. Thanks for your support and encouragement. Side note, in the current issue of Music Connection magazine, they just handed me this thing where I thought I was helping this other writer out to interview all these guitar players. They're having the guitar roundtable issue of Music Connection magazine, and what I later found out was that I am the man. So I wrote the entire section of the guitar roundtable edition, and there's just all these great guitarist. Nally Colt from Vintage Trouble is on there. He's a local guy they're just kicking butt everywhere doing the retro thing. Nally Colt. Lige Curry from P-Funk. Orianthi, who was, you know her from Michael Jackson, and she's a lead guitar player for Alice Cooper, and she's solo, and she's doing all kinds of cool things. Clint Lowry from Seven Dust is one of the people. And last but not least, Leslie West. Yeah, Leslie West. Yes, I got to interview Leslie West. So pick up that issue. It should be on the stands now, and you should really, check it out. It's going to be really cool. Yeah. Oh, shut up. Anyway, Oscar's Guitar Shop is powered by Analog Man Guitar Effects, providing everything you need between your amp and guitar. Visit them at analogman.com. Also, sixstring.com, the social network app for guitarists. All guitar, all the time. And lastly, but not leastly, True Tone Music. Visit them at truetonemusic.com, making your music come to life. And now, it's time. This tune is called Chak Multi from the album Vital Tectones. Attending a Scott Henderson gig is a recipe for an inferiority complex. With a wide palette of aural colors encompassing blues, funk, jazz, rock, and humor, Henderson manipulates the very molecules in the air to create uniquely personal voice on the guitar. And all his guitars, actually. Having recorded with Jean-Luc Ponty, Chick Corea, and Zawinul, Henderson also does his own thing on such tasty recordings as Dog Party, Tore Down House, Well to the Bone, and Scott Henderson Live. True Henderson disciples own Vital Tectones 1 and 2, starring Victor Wooten and Steve Smith, and his new project called HBC with Dennis Chambers and Jeff Berlin needs to be purchased immediately. Immediately. Get it while you can. It's a great recording. Ladies and gentlemen, just back from a tour with the reunited Tribal Tech, I introduce to you Mr. Scott Henderson. That's all for you, Scott.
Oh.
I guess they like you.
That's amazing.
Yeah?
I need to get a box of those at my house.
How are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show.
It's good to have you, man. It's really good to have you. So you just got back off tour, did the Tribal Tech Vegas experience, right? All the greatest hits of Tribal Tech.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a greatest hits show.
Yeah.
In hindsight, we're going to do that a little differently next time. We're going to do half and half. Half of the Vegas hits and half of what the band is really about these days, which is a very loose and organic kind of a jamming thing.
Right. That's cool. So what exactly happened? Was they didn't get enough hits, or you guys played more for yourselves, or were you?
No, we sort of felt like after all this time and had passed and we hadn't done anything, that it would be a good idea just to play stuff that a lot of the audience members would immediately recognize.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked through the albums and we just thought, okay, what was the most popular tune from this record? What was the most popular tune from that record? And decided to do mainly that stuff. Being back on the road, playing that stuff every night, it felt a little confining, and which is one of the reasons we broke off from that concept in the first place and did Thick and Rocket Science and Tribal Tech X, which was just about going into the studio with no pre-written music at all and jamming,
Mm-hmm.
and then later composing over that. So you've got, to me, Tribal Tech X is for me, it's my favorite album because it's the best mixture of organic type jamming and composition. So I like to have a nice balance between the two, and I felt like the tour was a little bit too much on the arranged side for
Mm-hmm.
me, and all of us felt that way in hindsight.
Yeah.
So next time we'll do it a little differently.
I mean, when you say arranged, meaning that you guys rehearsed a lot and just stuck to the
Actually,
arrangements?
no, we didn't really rehearse at all. We just learned the tunes off the record. And, of course, the solo sections were improvised.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, when you've got a lot of heads to play, a lot of melodies to play, you can't really break loose from that mindset. When you're soloing, you're thinking in the back of your mind, okay, I've got to end my solo and get back to this melody, right? There's a certain amount of freedom that's lost. When you play more open tunes, when you don't have to think that much about melodies, you become more creative. You become less concerned about left brain activities and more about right brain activities, which is just being creative and having fun,
Mm-hmm.
and not trying to put on a show.
Right. Do you ever have moments where you're feeling it and you just start taking it out, and then Scott looks over to you and says, "Come on, man"?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the tunes are long, so if you take a long solo, then the tune becomes too long.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Whereas for me, in the space I am right now, I'd rather play Footprints, get the head over in a second, and just play a long solo to make the tune long.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah. You do a really good version of that on HBC that I really like. I've heard you play it live at small clubs before, but this is a little different. I love the chord melody stuff you do on the head of that.
Thanks. I used a Line 6 Variax guitar, because I don't own a hollow body.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent that recording before I actually decided to release the tune, and I sent it to some of my jazz box buddies that play, totally straight ahead jazz, and I was happy to hear that they didn't know that it wasn't a real jazz body guitar, and then I felt, okay, this is gonna work.
Yeah. It sounds good. It's got that kind of a woody quality. I've played a Variax, and they kind of can do that.
Pretty amazing guitars. Yeah.
Yeah. Any chance of another Tribal Tech record coming out?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're real happy to get together. We want to record again as soon as possible.
And when will that happen?
Well, as soon as we can get Willis out of Spain and back to the United States, and because one of the reasons that the band stopped recording wasn't actually that we broke up. It was just that Willis moved to Spain, and to do another record required way much more money. Hotels and flights for him to bring him here, and studio time. And now that Scott Kinsey has his own studio and we can record there for free, it drops the budget down considerably, so we can bring him, we can fly him here, we can put him up in a hotel, record the album for free at Scott's, and that seriously makes it easier to do another record.
That is easier.
Yeah.
And you recorded HBC there as well.
Exactly, yeah.
How did that come about with Dennis Chambers and Jeff Berlin?
Well, Jeff's manager, Alejandro, who's in Chile, who's now my agent as well for my projects, they wanted to do a touring band because Jeff hadn't toured in a long time. He'd been busy with his school in Florida. And they chose me and Dennis to play with because Dennis, obviously, one of the greatest drummers in the world. And me and Jeff had some history together playing back. Actually, the Champion album that he did, that was the very first time I ever recorded in my life on a record. And so that was my recording debut, and it was also Jeff's first solo album. Mm-hmm. So we did that back in I guess that was in the 80s, and then we also did Players with T. Lavitz and Steve Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'd been wanting to play together since then. So this was a nice opportunity for us to get together. We did about 5 tours, Europe and Asia, South America, and said, wow, we really should record this. Mm-hmm. And we did.
Oh, so you went on tour first.
Oh yeah, we were touring.
Oh, so that you guys were primed.
We were touring for at least 3 years before we did the record.
I got you.
The basic tracks for that record were done in a day. Man. Because for us it was just like a gig.
It's a gig,
yeah,
right?
It's a gig. Let's go in and play.
Man.
Yeah.
And you had the tunes all lined up
Sure,
and everything,
yeah.
and that's great. Dennis Chambers. I interviewed him some years ago, and I was doing my research, and you always miss things.
Yeah.
But he played with P-Funk.
I know. Is that amazing?
And he was like 18 or 17 or some shit.
Such a legendary cat that it's just ridiculous. and the most amazing drummer. He's a freak of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he is, and I've seen him in all kinds of configurations with like Santana and Steely Dan, and he's just always just the star. He's just amazing.
He kills it.
Yeah. With that said, you did some touring. You're well oiled and lean and firm, and you're ready. you're muscular and vascular.
Yeah, it's a good thing this isn't a video show, or they'd know you're lying right now.
Well, you went into the studio ready to go. With that said, you still did some fixes and overdubs.
I always fix my stuff because it's always lame when I record it.
You get the red light fever or the green light fever?
It's not so much that. It's just that I want to put my best stuff out on a record. If you want to hear what I really sound like, buy my live records. Right. I can't fix those.
Right.
But when I'm doing a studio record, I have the mindset that I've got the tools to make the best record I possibly can. So if I screw up, I'm going to fix it. I'm not a purist, and I don't believe in that mentality that live recording should be exactly like a stage recording. A stage performance is a stage performance. A recording is a recording. We try to put our best stuff out there. So if I make mistakes, I like to fix them. Also, sometimes I play stuff that I like, but I don't like the tone. In a basic track session, often the band comes up, but the guitar, I don't have the capability of bringing the guitar up while I'm playing, and sometimes end up picking too hard and messing up the tone. And so even if I played something I like, but I don't like the tone, I'll probably re-record. I'll learn what I played and re-record it for better tone.
Wow.
And because I'm a tone freak and I want everything to sound really, really good, and I'm the tone is important for me as the notes.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to get into this thing that I have this issue with you because sometimes, I think that your fans just pretty much are blown away with everything you do, and this goes to, I know that you pull people's videos off YouTube because they were
all the time,
and they're slobbering, they're going, oh my God, fucking listen to that.
Yeah.
And their jaws are on the floor, and you're like, oh God, that sucks. I'm taking this shit off.
Right.
And do you sometimes, will you ever allow for another opinion to say, hey, Scott, this is really amazing, and I know you think it sucks, but it's really awesome?
Well, it's hard to do because, I've never been one to be trying to please other people. I have to please myself first. If I wanted to please other people, I would be playing smooth jazz, and I'd have a bigger audience, and I'd be just working to please as many people as possible. But I chose a career where there's a pretty, small fan base, and not play the music that I love, and not try to be a big superstar, but just play music that I enjoy playing and hope there's an audience for it. Yeah. And to me, that's a truer approach to life and to art. So when I see something out there on YouTube that I think sucks and I don't feel comfortable living with, I'm going to pull it off. And a lot of times it's not about the performance anyway. It's about the horrible sound quality of the video. A lot of times they're recorded on iPhones. You can't even hear the bass. So if there's chord changes and there's no bass, it just sounds like I'm playing a bunch of avant-garde bullshit that has no basis or in fact. Mm-hmm. So I don't want recordings I don't want to be represented by that kind of recording, so I pull it off. I try to make up for it by having my YouTube channel where I post stuff that is recorded well, and I don't, I may not love the performances, but I don't hate them either, and I'm willing to have them on there. Mm-hmm. And I hope that makes up for the ones that I pull down.
Yeah. Well, you got me there. I was going to argue with you, but you got me. So, but in the
Okay.
meantime,
Does
check.
that sound logical?
Yeah, it's very logical. I was gonna go toe to toe with you, but you made sense, and I'm gonna shut up now and play some music. This is the title track from Tore Down House.
Ain't nothing but a patch of land. They tore down my old house, baby. Ain't nothing but a patch of land. And you know all that's left, baby. Here's some letters in the mailbox, lying in the sand. I gotta change your address, baby. Long, 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 and far away. I gotta change your address, baby. Long, 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 and oh, so far away. Well, you know I had to leave you, no matter what the cost. Only everything I knew in love was lost. Well, you know I had to leave you, no matter what the cost. Only everything I knew in love was
True Tone Music is a virtual candy store for guitarists and bass players. They're world famous for having the best selection of new and used and vintage guitars in the Los Angeles area. Located at 714 Santa Monica Boulevard in the city of Santa Monica, True Tone Music offers the widest selection of exceptionally high-quality guitars and basses. They stock name brands like Fender, Gibson, Guild, Epiphone, Gretsch, and much more. It's where the top names in the music industry shop for guitars, basses, amps, boutique pedals, and accessories. Whether you want to buy, sell, trade, get guitar lessons, or repairs, True Tone Music's super cool staff is there to make your music come to life. They'll also match any online price and back it up with top-notch customer service and support. Visit them online at TrueToneMusic.com or call 310-393-8232. That's 310-393-8232. Ask for Ken. Say, hey, Ken, help me out. I want to buy some cool guitars and some boutique pedals. Take care of me. And he'll do it. Tell him Oscar sent you. It's one of my favorite solos you do.
Thanks, man.
It's really cool. I know you've been listening to too, because I can hear it, but it sounds awesome. Yeah. I hate to cut this short, but I have the rest of the show to do. This is a 25-minute song, so
Feel free to cut.
I'm digging it, man. I'm really digging it.
Hey, man, you got a hell of a radio voice. I got to learn that and start using it at home. Maybe people will start paying attention to me.
What the hell else am I going to do with a fine arts degree? Damn, you know? Anyway, so that's, you know, I'm digging the whole thing, man, and
Thanks,
I love what you do.
Thank you.
Tell me about your main guitar.
It's a Suhr, S-U-H-R Classic, and it's a Scott Henderson model, but really it's not really that far away from just their regular Strat Classic, which is an alder body, maple rosewood neck, kind of a stone cold reproduction of the old Stratocasters from the 60s. The only thing that's different is the radius of the neck is not so round. It's a little flatter like a Gibson, bigger frets, so it's easier to play. And on my particular model, there's a wiring change where when you're on the 2 and 4 position, the tone controls are bypassed so that those positions are always as bright as they can be. And that's it. That's the only really difference between that and buying a regular Suhr Classic. Oh, actually, the neck shape. The neck shape on my guitar is a D shape, where the typical Fender is a C shape.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I have a friend of mine who's got the Classic, and I really enjoy it. You're not a big girthy neck guy. You like them in the kind of in the middle.
Yeah, around the middle. Yeah, my hands aren't big enough to handle the big fat necks. Like I played a Jeff Beck model Fender, and that neck would be too big for me. I wouldn't really be able to get around on it.
Yeah, that's very cool. So did you have a hand in designing everything about it, like the pickups, or did they just say, hey, check this out, and you said, yeah,
pretty much.
I want to know how much hands-on you had involved with that.
Well, I had hands-on with the bridge because I wanted a regular, real Fender bridge. Like some guys come to me and they go, hey, my Suhr guitars don't sound like real Strats. What's up? And I go, well, what kind of bridge is on it? And they go, a Godot 1088. And I go, well, dude, if you don't have a Fender 6-screw vintage bridge on your guitar, it's not going to sound like a Strat, because that's the characteristic sound of that guitar. And John is happy to put those bridges on the guitars if you ask for them. But a lot of people think they don't stay in tune as well as the 2-post bridges, which they don't, but you can work on them so that they do. And I have some tricks that they've showed me that, I mean, my guitar stays in tune incredibly, and it's a regular stock 6-screw vintage bridge, and that's what makes the guitar sound like a vintage guitar. The bridge is a big part of it.
What's the trick?
There's a lot of them. Actually, if you go on my message board, I want to tell everybody listening that I have a message board where I answer questions online, and it can be found off my website at scotthenderson.net. And after 6 years, I've basically written probably a 500-page book of answers that all, that people ask me about the music business, tones, recording, instruments, musicians. We've talked about just about everything. And there's if you go on the index and look under guitars, under Fender Vintage Bridge, there's a big whole page about how you can fix your Fender Vintage Bridge to stay in tune perfectly. It's pretty involved.
I will be on there because I have so many problems with that. My other thing is that when you use your bar, I love your intonation, your pitch, because it's, some people, they lose a little bit. You can hear a little bit that there's some pitch issues when they go in and out, and I don't hear that with you.
Well, one thing I've done is I've shortened the bar by about 1.5 inches, which gave me some serious pain in my right hand for a while, but you get calluses just like you do on your left hand fingers. And the shorter the bar is, the harder it is to press down on the bar and make those notes, and the easier it is to keep them in tune.
Right.
So that's one of the little tricks.
And is the bar swinging or is it stationary?
It's swinging, baby.
Damn Skippy. It's swinging. I want to play some more music because this is a music show, and it's all about the music. Scott Henderson, name this tune.
One of my favorite tunes by Joe Zawinul.
Yes.
D-flat waltz.
D-flat waltz from the album HBC. I also love the tone of the record too. Yeah, of HBC. It's not all wet like those, like, you know how we hate the smooth jazz stuff. Well, this has got a nice warm, almost like a blue note kind of. You can hear the room.
Yeah, it's pretty raw.
Yeah. I hate to do this, but we're running a little bit behind. But
okay.
I gotta cut into this commercial because these guys give me money, and there's no such thing as a free lunch. I've discovered the coolest app for guitarists. It's called the 6-String app, and it's available at the iTunes Store. 6-String is the ultimate mobile app for iPad and iPhone users. The 6-String app is a social network just for guitarists. 6-String has the fastest growing community of guitarists on the internet, and it's free to join. Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? It's free! Imagine the coolest people in the world talking about guitar and nothing but guitar, all on your mobile device. Users can post photos of their gear and audio and video files with hot licks or text messages. You can also post your favorite YouTube videos and make new friends. Will you be my friend? Sure. That's a good thing. Friends are good. The best part is that downloading the app is free and easy to use. The 6-String community is a great place to interact with guitarists, find fans if you're playing, or become a fan. Recording with the 6-String app is a breeze and allows you to post your ideas immediately. It's free for download at the iTunes Store, or go to 6string.com to get more information. That's SIXSTRING.com. Say hi to Pete Thorne, Zach Wilde, and Jennifer Batten, who are also on the app. 6string.com, the social network app for guitarists. All guitar, all the time. I dig it, man. I think it's interesting that you play with Zawinul, but you didn't play any Weather Report tunes, right?
A few.
You did a few, but you never recorded any.
No.
You just did all his new stuff, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. But it's cool. It's a great album. People, wherever you buy cool music, and I stress buy, get this record. Mr. Henderson is ferocious all over it, and you can hear it because it's great stuff. And Jeff Berlin, I got to get him on the show because he's legendary for speaking his mind, and you know what I mean. So got to get him on here. He's a great. I friended him somewhere, and he was very nice to me. So hopefully it'll go well. Very cool. Now are you still using the Bradshaw OD100?
It's actually changed into an amp that's just the crunch channel of that amp, and it's called an SH100, named after me. And the main reason that John made it was because I was having problems getting the OD100 onto the flights.
Right.
And so this amp has an aluminum chassis, which makes it a good 75% lighter. And but it's basically just a one-channel amp, which is the crunch channel of the OD100, and that's what I use is the crunch channel because I use it with pedals.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool. And as this is like, you still have your Plexi and all the other stuff, right?
No, I sold my Plexi because it was just too loud. I had to use a variac with it and drop the voltage down to 80 volts, and so it wouldn't kill my speakers and shake the walls of my house. And I never really ended up using it that much because it was just too loud, and it actually didn't sound as good as my 71 Marshall that's been modded with an effects loop by John Suhr.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not an effects loop, I'm sorry, a master volume.
Yeah.
So that I can play. I mean, it's still loud as hell. Don't get me wrong, it's loud. But when you start getting an amp that's so loud that it damages the speakers or makes them make that awful cone cry, then it's too loud and you can't use it. Those amps they're meant to be used with two speaker cabinets, two 4x12s. And if you look on, like if you see pictures of Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix recording those amps, you can always see that they're miking the bottom speaker, but both speaker cabinets are connected. So you're not damaging the speakers. If you're going to use a head like that, you need 2 speaker cabinets.
Yeah.
So I use the amps with master volume so I can use one 4x12 instead of having to connect 2.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, you always have such great tone, and you're very meticulous. I remember I saw you once at the Baked Potato. This is a few years ago, and I really thought it was interesting. You, on your pedal board, you had the red Boss looper.
Yes.
And you would actually record a loop and then leave the stage and then walk out in the audience to hear your tone.
Yeah.
And then you make adjustments. That is, you know.
Everybody should have a looper.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you're working with a sound man you don't know, because sometimes we're playing huge places, right? And you don't hear any sound from the stage. So it's not that I'm really checking out my amp tone because I've got that dialed in. I'm checking out the PA. So when I go way out to the board, and out at the board you can't even hear really much from the stage at all, but you're hearing the PA system, and I want to make sure that after my amp is mic'd and gone into the PA, that it's representing the true tone that's coming out of my amp. And a lot of times, I find more often that the PA systems are really bright. So usually all I have to do is take off some top end, maybe add a little bit of bass, and that's why I use the looper. If I'm working with a sound man that knows my tone and knows what to do, I don't need to do that. But often we're working with sound men we've never met.
Right.
And we have to go out on the board and make sure that they're EQing things right.
Yeah, it's important. Yeah, I like that you do that because as people know who listen to the show, I am problematic, problem child, mouth breathing guitar player who always somebody's always complaining about something about me. So I have to remember that. And I actually own one of those, but I just use it to jam on.
Yeah.
You know, I just leave it at home and I jam on it. But maybe I should put it on my board, my outdoor, my A rig, and listen to myself once in a while.
Nothing. I don't mean to badmouth Boss, but don't hook it up permanently into your pedal board. Mine is not hooked into my pedal board. It's just out there all alone, and I hook it up in place of the wah-wah pedal when I use it. Because it's not a true bypass pedal, and it will screw up your tone if you play through it and it's not on. You don't want it in your loop. All my pedals are true bypass, and that's very important. If you're using like 4 or more pedals, they really need to be true bypass, because if you go through one that isn't, it can damage your tone in a big way.
That's cool. Well, that's really good to know because we want integrity of tone. That's very important.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to play some more music because I'm digging it. I really dig your stuff. And so you know what you've done. You know what you've recorded because you were there.
Yes, I'm haunted by it every day.
Name this tune.
Are we on?
Yes?
This is Mysterious Traveler by Wayne Shorter. This is my favorite tune probably on this album.
Wow, cool.
And it would be nice if you played the solo, because I think people might find it interesting.
Well, I'm going to leave it on because I feel bad, but it's a tight show, and it's we got 50 minutes to get it all in, but
Okay.
I'm gonna let it run.
All right.
No matter what happens, I'm letting it run.
At least to the solo.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is
a 25-minute song, as you know.
It's a fun solo because I used a Z-Vex Fuzz Factory and did some cool things with it that I really like.
Okay. Well, this is good because I'm gonna leave it on because I remember I had George Lynch here a few weeks back, and we were doing his incredible rock solo, and I was talking. He goes, "Shut up, man! My solo!" I was like, "Okay, George Lynch, don't hit me," because George Lynch has muscles, Yeah. Love the groove on this. Okay, I'm going to sneak in a quick commercial before the solo, and then we can sit and dig it. If you truly care about your guitar tone, then you already know that Analog Man Guitar Effects makes the best stomp boxes in the world. Analog Man Guitar Effects has only one mission: to help you get your sound. They specialize in high-end boutique and custom-made pedals used by the best guitar players in the world. There's a solo. I'm going to shut up for a second. Now, what is that again?
Z-Vex Fuzz Factory.
Oh, man. How do you do that, man? Damn. Awesome, man. Visit Analog Man online at analogman.com and check out their huge selection of pedals and accessories. Once again, that's analogman.com. Analog Man Guitar Effects. Everything you need between your amp and guitar. Man, that is a cool-ass solo.
Thanks. Oh, by the way, hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike. I'm going to call Mike. Hey, Mike, get ready to pick up because Oscar's going to call you. Very cool.
I use Mike's sun face. It's awesome.
Yeah?
Hello, Analog Man. This is Mike.
Hey, Mike. Scott just told me he uses your sun face.
Awesome.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good to talk to you again.
How you been, Mike? How's things going?
Things are going good. Keeping busy. And, yeah, Scott called me up a couple months ago out of the blue. That was a really nice surprise. I was good to hear from him.
Yeah, I call, I try to keep in touch with you because I know you've got the most badass stuff, and it's like, what are you making that's new that I need?
Well, we got a few things coming out, and as soon as I get some prototypes ready, I'll send some up for you guys to check out.
Awesome.
That's for sure.
Awesome, new toys.
New toys.
Boys.
We want new toys. Hey, Mike, I got a question for you. We have a lot of younger guitarists who listen to the show. And I think it's a common question when I go to guitar forums. As far as pedals, what is the difference between an overdrive pedal and a distortion pedal?
That's a good question. It's kind of the same thing, but at the beginning, the effects manufacturers kind of used the names differently, like the MXR Distortion Plus. So people kind of thought, okay, that's a distortion pedal, and Boss came out with like the OD1 overdrive. So, okay, that's what an overdrive is. And then it kind of kept that way. A distortion is something with a little harder clipping. They'll usually use like diodes to ground clipping to give you like a harder edge and more thicker distortion, whereas an overdrive tends to be a softer, kind of a warmer, cleaner kind of a distortion. And a lot of overdrive pedals will use clipping diodes in the feedback loop, like the Boss and all the Ibanez tube screamers.
Mm-hmm. I got you. That's good to know.
That's good to know for me too, because I when I go to sleep, I see diodes jumping over fences instead of sheep.
I love that album of yours with all the burned capacitors and resistors from your tube amp with the spoon and the fork.
Oh, what is that? Is that weld to the bone,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, just a plate of fried electronics.
Yeah, no, that was very tasty.
I use your. I sent you some DS1s a long time ago, and you modified them. One of them is I think it's the mid-range boost with the little dial.
Yes,
on the left corner.
Mid-range knob, right?
Yeah, I really love that pedal. It's on my board, and I really like that pedal a lot. It just warmed it up, and it just I could get a nice light overdrive breakup with that pedal, as well as get crazy if I wanted.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, but a DS1 is actually great if you turn the drive down. It's just kind of a little gritty boost pedal. Like Sid McGinnis has used his like that for forever, and he just keeps that drive way down there, and has his amp set semi-dirty and kicks it on when he needs a little grit.
Sounds good. Now, Scott, you use the SD9, correct?
Yeah, along with the full-tone Plimsoll and the new version of it, and also the Klon Centaur. I use that a lot.
Yeah.
And for some reason that works with my style because I roll the treble down quite a bit on my bridge pickup. And some distortion pedals can sound kind of woofy when you do that. Like a lot of distortion pedals sound fine as long as you've got the tone control cranked up. But once you start rolling it back, there's only a few pedals that I've found that work for me, and those are the three for me that work the best in that situation. And also the Sunface.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my go-to distortion. Well, it's not a distortion pedal; it's a fuzz. But that's one of my go-to pedals because I can keep the tone rolled off, and it still does its thing really well and cleans up beautifully when you turn your guitar down.
Yeah, that's actually. I was talking online. Via email to Analog Mike about the Sunface because I was gonna have him mod my old Dunlop pedal, my fuzz pedal. And I thought, let me just, because Analog Mike said, well, board space, real estate on the pedal board, get the Sunface. I think that's going to be my next purchase.
It's an awesome pedal, and the thing that for me, my favorite thing about it is not the sound it makes when the guitar is full up, but the sound it makes when your guitar's around 5. It's that really beautiful Jimi Hendrix, chordal, sparkly chord tone. It's amazing. It sounds incredible. And that's my favorite thing about that pedal.
Very cool. So, Mike, let's say that Oscar finally gets off his ass, breaks open the piggy bank, and wants to get a Sunface. How do I do this?
Well, we've got several different transistor options. So you kind of figure out how much dirt do you want. Do you want silicon? Do you want germanium? And I have a lot of files I can send you to help choose, or I answer questions. But yeah, you basically choose a transistor. Then we've got dozens of options. On-off fuzz pot, so you can keep it connected on a pedal board without draining the battery. Just turn the fuzz down all the way, and it clicks your power off. Got option LEDs, power jacks, sundial, which is your bias. So there's millions of combinations. So you should be able to find exactly what you need with all of our options.
Wow, that's cool.
The only thing is that Mike told me that unfortunately he does not give deals to radio hosts. It's going to be a retail pop. So,
well, we can always shop at analogman.com for all your pedal needs. Hey, we got to move along, but thank you very much, Mr. Analog Mike. I really appreciate your help, and
see you, Mike.
You're changing lives daily, sir.
Great, thank you.
Take care, man. I'll talk to you soon.
See you guys later.
Alrighty. That was Analog Man. Yes. Alrighty. Okay, so now we're at that point of the show that everyone loves. This is the part in the show that's called the burning question. Mr. Scott Henderson, are you ready for the burning question?
I'm scared a lot.
I know. The burning question is, in terms of a guitar, is less really more?
Okay, can I answer?
Yes, you can.
I'd have to say less what?
Well, you have this great quote, and it's that it's not how much you know, it's how you present what you know.
Oh, you're talking about playing.
Yeah, because there's got a lot of guys who know a lot of different things.
I thought you were talking about the guitar itself, and I was going to say that, the lighter guitars do sound better than the heavier guitar.
No, I meant there's the guy who can play.
No, I'm going to go on record here and say that vocabulary is the least important thing in music.
Mm-hmm.
Someone like Pat Metheny or Kurt Rosenwinkel has just light years of vocabulary, whereas someone like B.B. King has, a pretty small vocabulary, but they're all equally great musicians because they know how to beautifully present what they know.
That's good. I like that. That's perfect. Cool, man. Well, that's the end of our show. I'd like to thank our special guest, Scott Henderson, and set mind to purpose and visit him at scotthenderson.net and purchase every piece of music he has ever written. Also, check out the album HBC as soon as humanly possible. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Analog Man Guitar Effects, providing everything you need between your amp and guitar at analogman.com. Also, sixstring.com, the social network app for guitarists. All guitar, all the time. And True Tone Music, where Scott Henderson shops. He gets a shopping cart and shops at True Tone and gets all his guitar needs. It makes your music come to life. Visit True Tone Music at truetonemusic.com. Go to oscarsguitarshop.com if you want to contribute to the show. And tune in next week when our guest will be Mr. Big Time soundtrack film composer and guitar demon Lyle Workman. Take care of yourselves. Be nice to each other. See you next week. Same bat time. Same bat channel.